Good afternoon. Welcome to Catholic Messenger Conversations. It's September, and we're meeting with Bishop Thomas Zinkula. And I guess we're going to answer some questions, or you are going to answer questions from the reader's box, right?
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, well, looking forward to. Well, I understand one of the first questions I've got is you went canoeing on Labor Day, right? On the Cedar River?
Yes. So,
Tell me about that.
Well, the Newman Center in the University of Iowa in Iowa City do that every Labor Day. Father Jeff Belger, the director, kind of organizes that. He's a canoeing kind of guy, and he has this thing, Shaka Khan or something, this big boat that he likes to take out. It's old, and I think it's wood. And it holds, I think, maybe up to 9 people.
Were there 9 people in it then?
I don't know. I don't think so, because it was. We haven't got much rain lately, so the river was low, so they were concerned about it being too much weight. So they might not have been quite 9, but anyway. So then there were 8 canoes that would hold 2 to 3 people.
Oh wow!
And I have a single person canoe, so I just. I brought mine, and I was all by myself in my canoe.
Wow.
So they started at Palisades Kepler State Park, just about a mile from our family farm where I grew up.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, we float by the farm. And then they end up at Sutliff, this bar, restaurant, old bridge.
Oh, that sounds
kind of thing
cool.
where there's a place to get out. And so they have a... So that was it. Was
How far did you travel down the river?
I don't know. It's hard to say. It probably took us 3 hours.
Oh wow!
3.5 hours.
Back and forth, or
no? Just down the river. I mean, you just go down.
Oh, okay.
With the current rather than fighting the current.
Why not make it harder?
And then they have, they bring there's this bus, for the kid. People,
okay.
and then the thing for the rack for the canoes, or trailer. So then they along the way, just right as soon as kind of just shortly past the bridge on Highway 1 over the Cedar River. There's some cottages, and there's a woman who's a big supporter of the Newman Center.
Oh wow!
And her husband, he just died a couple years ago. It's very poignant. It's an older couple, so it's the first time since he died that. So they host it. It's supple and layman. It's kind of the families that are involved. There's people that help her that with this thing, and there's mass. So we just we went about a third of the distance, maybe an hour at the most, and then we stop, and it's lunchtime, and we have mass. What's like 11 or so mass, and then there's a meal.
So it's like an outdoor mass there.
Yeah,
then?
right. It was very
neat.
Nice. Yeah, it was really.
So is it like a farm or something?
No,
or
it's a cottage. They're cottages.
Oh.
It's not their main home. It's a cottage they have on the river.
Cool.
They've had forever. And so they open it up to us. Very nice.
Oh, that's great. And so then, when did you go? Did you go to Sutcliffe then? Did you
Sutliff.
Sutliff.
Yeah, wonderful sounding name. Sutliff. Yeah, we ended there. There's a boat ramp.
Oh, okay.
And that's where you end. And they, Patty McTaggart and Father Charles from Solon, Fladong, were helped out. So they kind of, made sure that the bus was there at the end, and the trailer for the canoes was there at the end, and they helped with the meal and stuff. They didn't canoe; they just kind of were the support people.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great. So, like a Sutliff, is that a bar or something like that, a tavern?
No, there's Sutliff is a town. I'm not sure if it's incorporated.
Oh, okay.
But there's a few houses, cottages there, not a lot, but some.
Okay.
And then there's a bar and restaurant on the river right by this old bridge that's just walking now. You can't.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. This is where when I grew up, that was where you'd go for that kind of a thing. And the bridge was open then. There was planks, so they went up and down and made the sound, as you drove over. I was like, it's kind of scary.
Wow.
But now it's just a historical site.
Oh, wow.
The bridge.
So did the students have much to say? Did they Were you like shouting back and forth at each other about things, or?
No, I mean, you chat along the way with whoever's in your canoe or in the canoe next to you, and then at the meal, and you're sharing stuff. And,
Any interesting things that they shared with you?
I don't know. I mean, it was there's 4 of the 5 focus missionaries were along.
Oh, okay.
And one of them wanted to know about, how you become a bishop. So a lot of people think that, you apply for it.
Oh, that's great.
It's like, no, it's not that exact. So, and then she also had some questions about, for her doing her missionary work, people kind of, the thing she was focusing on was why Catholic versus some other, denomination, Lutheran or evangelical or whatever. And so she was kind of, how do you, she didn't know what to say about that exactly.
Oh, when people ask her that?
Yeah. Right. How do you just sort of, she knows the faith very well and stuff, but then she doesn't know some of these other traditions maybe as much, or she just doesn't know what to say.
Oh, so I got it. Yeah.
Talked about that.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. So, so that's about a 3-hour ride, and it's always refresh. You really, does that really invigorate you to be with young people and talking about
I love it. Yeah, it was great. It was wonderful. I mean, just to hang out with them and hear what they're thinking. And these guys, they're plugged into the church.
Yeah, exactly.
And there were 4 young women from India who are there. Their first year, I think, I can't remember, first or maybe second year. They're all getting a master's degree, and the same thing. I think it was maybe IT or so. I can't remember what it was.
Oh wow!
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. Like I've been to India. You've been to India, so it's fun to talk to them about where they were from and just share some stories with them.
Oh, that sounds like it was a really wonderful experience. I'm wondering too. Can you tell me what your role is in the selection of recipients for Parchment Peace and Freedom Award? Actually, that is a question from one of our readers.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Diocese of Davenport's kind of the main entity for that whole thing, but they're not the only one. So Ambrose is part of it, and Augustana College across the river, and a couple of sisters, Franciscan sisters, communities, and
I think the CHMs are part of that too, aren't they? And then the Muslim committee.
Yeah, some Muslim, one or two groups, and Jewish, and so there's a group, and there's a committee that kind of talks about who to invite to receive this award.
Yeah, I actually serve on that committee.
Okay, there. So you can answer this question. So anyway, so I'm not part of that committee, but Kent Ferris kind of keeps me informed, who's the director of social action for the diocese. So he keeps me informed of what's going on and what they're thinking, and I can add my thoughts on who they might want to consider. Like I was the one that said, how come the Dalai Lama hasn't gotten this thing?
Yeah.
Let's make that happen.
I'm so glad you suggested that one.
Yeah. So, and then they ask for my thoughts, and hopefully they consider them in their discussions. And then in this whole process, we zero in on one person. And in this case, the next one's going to be 2 people. And then I always have a chance to, there's somebody kind of vetting them in terms of what they've said. It hasn't said anything that's not in keeping with the church where we're at as a church. And so somebody's doing that here at Ambrose, but then I do that a little bit too, and Kent does as well.
Okay,
just to kind of go out there and kind of look around a little bit.
Right.
So that's about it. I mean, it's not like me choosing by myself this person, but I have input on it.
Right. I mean, this is a first, I think. There's a Muslim and a Jewish woman who are being honored this year. I don't think we've done
ever either one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't
know if we've ever nominated a Muslim for the award. I don't think so.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody either from that list.
Were you surprised by that nomination at all? That
well, I mean, I don't know. Surprised. I was. I didn't know about their group. Mm-hmm. It was all that they
Sisterhood of Salam Shalom.
So that was new to me, and I'm like, well, this is interesting, and I read up on it, and so I guess I was surprised. I don't know, to sense of I hadn't heard of them before, But once I read about it, it's like, well, this makes sense.
It made a lot of sense.
They're excited about it. One of them was aware of the Pacham Terrace Award.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I
like,
thought
wow.
that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was very interesting. Our next question from a reader is, although the Catholic Church has approved pilgrimages to Medjugorje, and people reported pilgrimages to Medjugorje have changed their lives and drawn them deeper into their faith, why do you think the Church has not approved the apparitions that have occurred?
So it's been a long time that this has been, considered, by the Church as to whether to officially approve it as an apparition of Mary. There were commissions in the 80s, 3 commissions that looked at it. They couldn't affirm that supernatural apparitions and revelations were occurring there. Mm-hmm. So then eventually, the Bishops' Conference, the Yugoslav, whatever Bishops' Conference, looked at it, I think, in the early 90s sometime. And so it was the same thing. So, and then, no one has, the Church hasn't to this point said, yes, we officially recognize this as an apparition. But there was something that happened in 2017, a significant event. Not that it wasn't, officially recognized, but it was. As you mentioned, the Church has approved pilgrimages to Medjugorje, and so it's official. They're official. The Church.
Right.
People have been going there, but there can be official church.
And that's what happened in 2017. That's when they made that.
Right. That was
determination.
a step forward for that place, and acknowledge the faith and the pastoral needs of the pilgrimages. It's kind of the idea. We're still not sure about this thing, but Our Lady can be venerated everywhere, right?
Oh, that's right.
You can do that in your backyard with a statue of Mary.
Right.
And it's a shrine. Whether Mary appeared there or not, is a secondary question, and she doesn't have to appear there to give grace.
So it's not like they're still investigating that then.
No, probably they still are. I don't know. But the Church has kind of drawn a distinction between the apparitions, whether they, are legit, and Medjugorje is being a place of prayer.
Yes.
Right? So it can be a place of prayer,
Yeah.
So the general position seems to be that the spiritual fruits are undeniable.
Right.
The way I look at it, I don't know. I think some of the things they're concerned about, this is very unusual. The apparitions continue,
Right?
Especially with one of the young people, not young anymore.
Yeah.
It's like on
time, like on schedule, or
it's just that's so. Sometimes what I've read, maybe the first 7 or so, maybe were appropriate, but then now it's just kind of wonky. I don't know what to make of that, but it doesn't surprise me that people go there, whether Mary appeared or not. They go there. They're looking for a spiritual experience, and they're there together. 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, and they're open to, and they're praying. Doesn't surprise me that people.
Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't. So So I think that could happen anywhere.
Right.
And in a sense, it doesn't matter that much whether she appeared there or not. I don't know.
Right.
But so that's kind of where it's at.
Okay.
Days.
Well, I appreciate that. And then someone's also asking about Mary. They're saying some people have issues with the Church's teachings on Mary. What would be your approach to help them understand why Mary is such an important part of the Catholic Church and our prayer life?
Some of those people are going to be focused on the Bible, right? That's where they're coming from. Well, the Bible doesn't say this specifically. So to look at it, just look at the Bible, what it does say about Mary. She's mentioned in all 4 of the Gospels and also at the beginning of the book of Acts. And beginning with Mark and then Matthew and Luke, and then to get into Luke, there's a kind of an expansion of the role of Mary.
Yeah.
And she, so in Luke's Gospel, she's a main actor in the infancy story. She's she's the first Christian disciple at the Annunciation. She hears the word of God and does it. So, fiat. And so, Luke makes it clear that Mary has been specially favored by God and is blessed among women. And she, in the Acts of the Apostles, she appears with the 12 apostles at Pentecost. And she's there in this whole thing. So that's where this, and then John's Gospel, she's featured prominently as well. There's a miracle at Cana. She's at the foot of the cross.
Yeah.
She's pretty important in the scriptures and in our tradition. And, but there's a scripture in our tradition too, then she's there from the very beginning and honored and revered. Mm-hmm. So it's not surprising that the church would continue that over the centuries.
My favorite passage in scripture, I think, one of them is in Luke's Gospel, the Magnificat. I just think that is such a beautiful prayer.
Yeah.
And I wonder when we, do you have any favorite Marian prayers or any?
I don't know. Just a Hail Mary. It's a beautiful prayer. And
it is.
I like to pray that when I'm at somebody's casket, and praying there, and now and at the hour of our death, amen. And just kind of, it's sometimes people are afraid of thinking about death and and even speaking of death, and here it is every time
we pray that
prayer. It's the last word.
It is.
Well, and so and that's the very Catholic thing. It's healthy.
Yeah.
Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take.
Yeah.
That's what I pray. And so a couple of my sisters were like, when they had children, like, oh man, that's terrible. It's about death. Well, yeah. You see paintings of saints, from centuries ago with that skull on their, on their desk, and saints and people talking about reflecting on death every day.
Yeah.
This isn't a morbid thing.
I just think a skull on my desk would be a little tough for me to handle.
Yeah.
And another question from a reader: did Jesus have any brothers? And he says, see Galatians chapter 1, verse 19.
Well, the New Testament does speak of brothers and sisters of Jesus.
That's right.
So that is there, and we have to certainly deal with that. It never actually says they're children of Mary specifically,
right.
But it does talk about brothers and sisters, and it sort of maybe somewhat implies, I don't know, perhaps Mary being involved there somehow. By the early second century, there's already a tradition circulating that these were not the children of Mary. So we're very early on. That's kind of where the church is at with this. There's a story that develops. It's in one of the proto whatever gospels that wasn't chosen, for the canon. A story about Joseph being older than Mary and being a widower with children, and so Mary, mothers them as well, and so like step brothers and sisters of Jesus. So there's that kind of in our tradition. There's not a doctrine around that or anything.
Right.
But then I was reading up on this a little bit beforehand just to kind of get this in my head again. There's the Semitic languages in Jesus's time didn't have precise vocabulary for a wide range of family relationships, right?
So they could be in cousins.
Because there's members, they're basically brothers and sisters, members of the same tribe and same family. Those are considered brothers and sisters, and so that maybe the New Testament wasn't written in Semitic language, but it was written in Greek. But there's a conversation about that could have been what was pulled into the Greek New Testament, right? And then St. Jerome kind of was a big proponent of them being cousins of Jesus, and that became kind of the view of the Western Church. So that's just historically, that's kind of, and right from the very beginning, that's how we've recognized that as Mary being remaining a virgin, both in the Eastern Church and in the Latin Church, the Western Church, Orthodox. That's Orthodox teaching and tradition. That Mary remained a virgin. Many high Anglicans and Episcopalians, even Luther and Calvin, talked about Mary's being ever virgin. It really this question about these being Mary, children of Mary's children, or brothers and sisters, literally, of Jesus. That is a modern question. It was asked after the Protestant Reformation. Calvin and Luther weren't asking that question. It was afterwards, because they started reading everything literally. So
why was it important for her to be a virgin after the birth of Jesus?
Well, I think just it's kind of a traditional kind of a thing, in terms of maybe. That's a hard thing for us these days, I suppose, because it's what about being, a woman who has a sexual relationship with her husband? That's a good thing, we see, right? And so what are we denigrating that when we highlight virginity? People have a hard time with that. It's just something about, celibacy.
I wondered if that
virginity.
had something to do with it, the church's embrace of celibacy for certain.
Yeah, I don't know if that was, but it's a similar kind of a thing, I think, in terms of sacrifice,
right, for
the sake of your faith,
the kingdom,
or something. But it's kind of hard to see that exactly with virginity,
right?
But and maybe it was kind of lifting one up above the other for virginity or celibacy above married love, and so is that good or bad? I don't know. Maybe it's not how we see things today. They're more equal,
right?
But
still is a little bit of a mystery to me, but I guess we'll keep working on that. And then I was wondering, why are Catholic priests? I'm not wondering this. This is a reader. Why are Catholic priests not allowed to marry? Other Christian denominations allow their pastors, ministers, etc. to marry. What would it take to change canon law to make this happen? Maybe that fits into this other question we just talked about.
Well, it could. The church could choose to allow priests to marry. It would take just making that decision,
right?
Pope and whoever that he consults on it. So it's not. It's a disciplinary thing. It's not a doctrinal thing. Mm-hmm. So, and even that word like allowed, would I marry if I could, when I, as a priest? I don't know. It wasn't so much. I embraced that. It wasn't like, oh gosh, I have to do this thing, because the church doesn't allow me to marry. I discern that, reflect on that I'm called to celibacy. Mm-hmm. Even though I'd love to be married and have a family and all that, that'd be wonderful. I'd like to think I'd be a decent husband, father, but I've chosen this,
Right.
And so, and from my experience, for one thing, before we get to my experience, there are married priests, right?
Right.
There's the pastoral provision for Anglicans, priests to become Catholic, to be ordained Catholic priests. There's the apostles, probably some of them were married, Eastern Catholic Church, they're married. The bishops can't be married, but priests can be married in Eastern Catholic Church. So there are married priests. There can be married priests. And sometimes people think, oh gosh, if there can be married priests and women priests, and there can be, we have this shortage, and that there can be more. We'll have more. They'll take care of the problem.
Right.
It's not how it's worked in the Protestant church, where there's married priests and women priests. They still struggle with it's more. It's not. Yeah. It's not. That's not. There's more to it than that, for sure. But it's the idea. Why is there this celibacy thing for priests? It's remaining celibate for the sake of the kingdom of God. It's to give themselves entirely to God and the people that they serve, to to radically proclaim the kingdom of God. So it's for me, it's two things. It's the witness value.
Right.
So what does that say? Gosh, this person promised to be celibate and for life, to be a priest and to play that role in the church. Gosh, what's that say about how they feel about their faith? So the witness value. And the other thing is you have an undivided heart.
Right.
You got a family and you've got the church.
Right.
I mean, which one comes first? I mean, I think your spouse and your kids have to come first. But then there's this other thing. Like I don't have to struggle with that. I can give myself fully to the church, and I have this. I've always, even before I was a bishop, in the nuptial ring, that I started wearing. But even as a priest, I always saw my relationship with the people I was serving as a nuptial way. Like I was married to these people. I couldn't do that,
Right.
if it was I was married and if I had a wife and family. So for me, it's I can give myself fully
Right.
to the people that I'm serving.
That's beautiful, really. And I'm wondering, I've got another reader who's talking about a woman whose baby granddaughter died from SIDS about 13 years ago. And she's not been able to overcome her bitterness toward. I guess she had called the local priest in her parish, not in our diocese, and he had suggested that a deacon could come in his place, and she wanted the priest to come to provide comfort, I suppose, and she was really upset that he didn't come in her time of need, and she's not been able to go back to. She has not gone back to Mass ever since. And so she's wondering, how can she get over this? What should she be doing?
Yeah, I mean, I feel for her deeply. I don't know, the circumstance other than what she told me as to what was going on with that priest. So I'm not going to, try to defend him or anything because I don't know. Maybe there was a good reason or maybe not. But, I mean, he ran into this kind of situation, unfortunately, somewhat regularly, where someone was like hurt by the church, and so a lot of times it involves a priest who represents the church in a significant way, in persona Christi, in the person of Christ, and so when a priest messes up, it's kind of a bigger deal than somebody else in the church, and so I get that, and I can say, we're human, and I've messed up before, and so, but people can be hurt, and I really feel for her, and she obviously has been hurt deeply. But then so looking at it just from a rational perspective,
Right.
Gosh, you're allowing this priest who hurt you to kind of take away your faith.
Yeah.
Here's the Eucharist, the source of the Christian life. And so what's going on there? Like, I'm going to show him, I'm going to not go to church anymore. I'm going to somehow I'm going to hurt him or hurt the church.
Right.
And then we hurt yourself.
Right.
Yeah. It just breaks my heart that we can't, that we do that, and if you look at it rationally, it just makes no sense.
Yes.
Why would you do that? And this, it just, that it's this, and every time you think about going to church, you just feel bad. You feel bad. So what do? It's obvious. We've just got to forgive. And Jesus said, even forgive your enemies. It's so hard to do, but it's a gift to yourself to let this go and not let this thing, this situation take over your life and your spiritual life. That's the thing, and it's easy to say that, but it's freeing, and that's it's our faith. It's in terms of sin and forgiveness, and that's what I would encourage her to do, and if she to pray about that, maybe talk to somebody about that, maybe even a priest that she knows and feels better about.
I mean, it sounds like she wants to go back.
I think
it sounds like she wants someone to give her permission to say, it's okay to let go of my anger. It's like okay to let go of this pain.
Right.
And to come back to Jesus, to the arms of the faith community.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I was just thinking about how hopefully we feel when we're forgiven,
right.
We just feel it's a burden that's lifted off our hearts and minds and souls, but also to forgive, the same feeling can happen, and Jesus says, forgive, if you don't forgive, then I'm not going to forgive, right?
Right.
So it's like it's got to go together.
Yeah, exactly. I remember reading a book by a Lutheran minister who talked about forgiveness, and it was a beautiful book. But he talked about you can never, when you're in pain, when someone has committed something so awful against you, maybe murdered your child or your spouse, you can never extract the pain that you feel from that person who did that to you. And so you can't make them feel your pain. You can't project your pain onto them. It'll never happen.
No, but that's what she's trying to do, is she's trying to hurt this priest.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know probably that this is happening. So, and she's trying to, and kind of hurt the church too, because he represents the church. But meanwhile, you're hurting yourself. It doesn't make sense. But when emotions, those really strong emotions come into play, it's we don't think rationally.
Yeah. Exactly. That's beautiful.
But I'm definitely going to be praying for her, because, my goodness, there's no need for her to be, in this situation.
I'd like to ask you one last question. I know we're going over, but someone asked you, what is your favorite dessert? I already know the answer to that one.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know there's any one favorite dessert. I mean, one thing that... Some of my Czech background, there's collages, but that's more of a pastry. It's not. I don't know if that's a dessert exactly.
It's a snack.
It's a snack, right? So I mean, I like things like rhubarb pie. I don't like cakes. I'll eat cake, but I prefer pie. So rhubarb, pumpkin, peach, blueberry. But in terms of a cake, carrot cake.
Oh.
More moist.
Yeah.
Ice cream. Cookies, like my favorite cookies, probably oatmeal, chocolate chip.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I think you like M&Ms too, don't you?
Well, yeah, because they're available. Yeah, no, well, yeah. I know that's not a dessert so much.
Well, I think it is.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. We're out of time. I was going to ask you about RAGBRAI, but I think I'll ask you about that next time.
All right, that's cool.
Okay. Thanks, Bishop.
Always a pleasure, Barb.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.